Holy shit, now I can see why people complain about Dalaran taking forever to load. Holy crap. Normally I play my game on an SSD, so for me the loading is just that fast. But on a hard drive when I'm trying to get onto PTR, god, this is taking a while. I've been here for at least a minute, maybe even 2. Oh, okay, alright. Huh. Not even loading into Dalaran, into the Rogue Order Hall, which is under Dalaran, so I guess that works. Alright, so they added another 3rd legendary you can run now. Okay, let's take a look at the 3rd legendary, see what it does. Is it something exciting, Blizzard? Maybe? We don't know. But we're gonna give it a go. Oh god, I'm back into loading screens. Where's the 2nd legendary, 3rd legendary, or whatever? Is this it? Amantel's Vision, let's take it. Okay, what if I equip this, and I equip this? Yeah, you can have 3rd legendary now. Amantel Vision, a bunch of all kinds of stats. Your spells and abilities have a chance to grant you 2200 speed, avoidance, and leech. Amantel Grandier, when empowered by the Pantheon, your agility is increased by 6700 for 15 seconds. That's not really all that much compared to the amount of agility I'm getting just from Concordance alone. So I guess it's kind of nice. Amantel Power Grandier, is that like the extra effect that you can do only during the last fight of the next raid tier? I think so. I could be wrong. So this is a chance to give me speed, avoidance, and leech. I mean, that's cool, I guess. Speed, avoidance, and leech. Woo, I can take it. Let's say re-damage. Also gives me a ton of stats for everything, even versatility. I guess that's pretty good. So now you can equip a 3rd legendary. This basically is not a legendary, though. It's a high item level, but that's not a legendary, man. This isn't a Lego. Oh, wait, hold on. I don't even have bracers. That's why my item level is so goddamn low. This isn't even legendary. You shouldn't even look at it and say, yeah, that's a legendary. You should just take a look at it and say, yeah, that is not a legendary. Because, you know what this is? This is just an extra trinket with an orange coat for it. Huh. So it's not actually legendary. I mean, even though it says it's a legendary, don't trust it. That's a hoax. It's trying to confuse you. But I also don't like that it's a legendary too, because I guess in the end, it is a Lego item with a high-ass item level. I mean, 1000. I mean, that's a lot. Our weapons are about to get to that point. So I guess our weapons and this is going to be the 1000 item level piece of gear. I kind of don't like that this item is I guess a prerequisite. It almost feels like a prerequisite. If you remember Mists of Pandaria or Warlord's General, in Mists they had the capes that you would, I guess, get at one point in the patch, and then you farm those capes up, and then you would upgrade those capes, and then you upgrade them to legendaries. And basically once you go into like full mythic group, you have to have the cape and a certain item level. They did a similar thing in Warlord's General with rings. You got a ring that was really high item level, and eventually you would upgrade it to a legendary quality as you followed a long quest chain from the first raid to the last. So if you took a break within any part of the expansion, you would have to backtrack and do a long time farm from a certain raid, and then to the next raid, and to the next raid. And it was really just, I guess it was a little bit it wasn't exciting. It was really just it kind of took you away from the experience of, yes, I want to farm up to this legendary, and made you not want to do it because it just felt like too much of a hassle. So I feel like this legend, and I hope this item for legendary, which shouldn't even be legendary compared to some of the other ones, I hope it doesn't feel like a prerequisite. Again, I'm not fully 100% sure how they're going to do the whole trinket system for the next raid. I know that trinkets supposed to play off of one another, and I think it's mostly for the final fight of the boss. So if it's only for the final fight of the boss, maybe like on the mythic version, then that's perfectly fine, because a lot of people can get those trinkets and they'll be fine. But I do want to talk a bit about just the legendary system, and I've had a few people come into my stream and kind of just give me some of their thoughts. A lot of people I see from forums really still complain about legendary systems. The legendary system, I feel like when it first was released, was a little bit not well put together. Because some legendaries definitely were a damage increase, and the other ones that were not a damage increase or helpful to your specialization in some way were absolutely useless. What Blizzard did since is edited a lot of the effects for them to make the effects themselves a little bit less severe, to give them a little bit less of an oomph when it comes to, I guess, the overall big picture. And on the flip side, for the legendaries that were basically not used, they gave them more stats. So in a way, what you now have is a system that even, let's say you get the legs for Valera as a rogue, which give you an effect, Faint will heal you for 20% of your health over a certain time. That legendary now has a lot more agility than, let's say, my shoulders. That legendary has more stamina, crit, haste, and a bunch of other, I think master as well, as stats for my class. So even if I didn't have the bracers and the shoulders for Outlaw Rogue, that still wouldn't change my rotation too much, and really would not change my damage output. For the most part, and I've tested this in PTR, if you just take off all of your legendaries and you play, I guess, the talent build the best for single target, and you try it on a train dummy, your damage will still be fine. I feel like too many people attribute legendaries and how they play with the class and how much they really affect you in terms of, I guess, your playstyle. A lot of people blame that because they don't have the best in slot legendary, no matter if they're doing an LFR, a normal raid, heroic raid, a lot of those players would say that they can't keep up in damage and do well and are not invited to PvE content, Mythic Plus or raids, that they can't do it because of the legendary, so blame Blizzard. I feel that is just BS. I don't agree with that whatsoever. There are some legendaries that were an issue, and Blizzard did fix them. There are some effects, I think, and some legendaries you can point out to right now and say, yes, that might be a little bit strong for a class, but they're way less than before. If you take a look at the old school Subtlety legendary, and I remember when they were doing the Subtlety Rogue rework in, I think, 7.2.5, because the 0.5 is when most of the class changes happen. 7.2.5, they had a Subtlety Rogue legendary for the gloves. It's a new one that they added, and it actually has a flip effect with the old school Symbols of Death that Subtlety has. Currently, Subtlety has an effect for Symbols of Death where it increases your damage and gives you energy, which is a strong effect and plays part of the specialization and feels like it's worth a button to press compared to just something you maintain back in the day. And before that, this legendary or this ability actually had a different effect. It had an effect flipped with the Gloves legendary, which gave you the original effect back on PTR. Gave you Shadow Strike extra combo points, your Nightblade extra damage, and your Eviscerate extra chance to crit, or a 35% chance to crit, or something like that. So you're more likely to get 100% Eviscerate damage, so you would combine that with DFA. And the Gloves gave you the damage increase. So they flipped those effects. So if there's a legendary that's just way too strong, and you bake it into a class because it feels like that class needs that legendary in order to perform well, then that's a good way for Blizzard to adjust certain mechanics of a class. So in a way, they've adjusted most classes so that you don't need certain legendaries. So a lot of the legendaries help your class do well, and some are better than others, I guess, depending on the situation. But we're at a point where you can actually interchange legendaries depending on the fight. And some classes, if it's a lot of AoE and you don't have a lot of AoE and things need to be nuked, you can go for an AoE legendary, but you don't need it. The only one that I can think of right now that is actually a big change is for mages. And the only way I know this is by playing a mage right now. For fire mages, I was going into a Mythic Plus with a mage that had low item level. He was about 880 going into like a 6 Mythic Plus, if not an 8. And because he had this legendary, he was able to keep up with damage. That's one example that I have right now on the game where a legendary is actually affecting the class. So I would say Blizzard did a pretty good job. There are a few, maybe one, maybe two, maybe five at most, legendaries that I might not be aware of that actually change the gameplay of the class, because we have a lot of classes in the game now, a lot of specs. So I would say yes, there are a few cases, but in the general sense, I don't think it matters. When I play my Outlaw, if I were to play a Subtlety or Assassination, if I understand my rotation and I get certain legendaries that might not even affect how I play, I'll be fine. Because I've been able to play my ults and can do about 1,000,000 DPS, more or less, give or take, after the burst phase. And I don't have the best in slot legendaries for all of them. Some have been lucky to get best in slot legendaries, but not all of them. Some I have maybe one that's actually one of the different options that is damage increase. But then I get like a Kill Jaden's Trinket, which is good for AoE, but for single target it's kind of meh. But the stats is still fine, so at least I can utilize the stats that it gives me in order to do well. I feel like for the most part Blizzard fixed Legos. I'm not too happy about the next legendary for the Trinket we have. I kind of don't like that it's prerequisite. I hope it won't be too bad. It doesn't look like it does a lot unless maybe it's for the final fight. It has an extra effect, but it has a specific stipulation that it's part of the final fight, the Thul thing. I'm guessing it's the final fight where you face Argus. That I don't even know if it works in Heroic or Normal. It might only work in Mythic, where there's a specific phase that a lot of people will be able to experience when they get into the Mythic raid, whenever the next raid comes in, which I think is on Taurus. And I guess that'll be exciting to watch. I'm not too happy that it's a legendary, because then it just makes me feel like we're just applying... I really don't want this game to become, and I guess this is just for the future of it, I don't want to get to the point where we are fully coated in orange. I don't want every single piece of gear to be orange. I don't want to be suited up in orange. Purple is fine, but I do like the idea of a few orange pieces that change your gameplay in terms of your rotation slightly, that adjust how you play, that give you maybe special cool effects, that might give you a single target DPS increase, but maybe change your rotation. For example, like the chest or the cloak for, I don't know which one it is, I think it's the chest for Death Knight. It makes Chains of Ice actually deal damage, but it takes a while for it to stack. It works just like the cloak for Subtlety, where you kind of just gotta wait for the effect to stack, and then your next ability, which is the AoE for Subtlety, deals like 200% more damage. I like that kind of effect that actually allows abilities that you normally wouldn't use for damage to be used as a damage ability, but for the most part, like the braces for Fire Mage, I feel like that effect might be a little bit too strong. I feel like Blizzard did okay with it, and I would want to see legendaries in the future, but I'm not too happy about the trinket. Hopefully it won't be a bad thing. Hopefully it won't be one of those things. It's like a make or break experience that you like need for a raid or not. And that's really about all I got to say. Anyway, thank you for listening to my rant about legendaries. You're free to voice your comments down below. I personally I'm okay if they do legendaries and systems similar to that in the next expansion. I think it'd be kind of cool because they are exciting to get. They do give you some interesting abilities and interesting effects. It just would be great if they're balanced down like from the day one kind of deal, or hotfixes implemented as soon as possible to nerf them or buff them if there are not too satisfactory, I guess, lanes or too satisfactory effects. But I think I like that system, and I actually would be fine with it by now. Anyway, thank you guys, I appreciate you, and I'll see you next one.